Bitcoin, Ethereum, debts, deficits? You want to stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. Welcome. Now, I know we started off the week here with discussions on Bitcoin and a little bit on debts and deficits. So I want to just kind of finish up on some of the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of the other information that you should know. For those that are new, we are going to be doing this twice a week now on satellite, which is really exciting. So I do welcome the audience. I have been involved in Christian television now for about 5 years. And the wealth transfer is about the wealth of the wicked of the world being transferred to we, the people of the kingdom. So we're here to give you a tremendous amount of data and information going forward. And I would really encourage you to stay tuned for both shows per week, because you're going to want to know. Each one is going to have very specific chart and data. So I do want to get into right away onto the whole Bitcoin concept, because within Bitcoin, a lot of folks think that this is the new, exciting way of making money. But remember, as we discussed, Bitcoin is a digital currency. And so being digital, it means someone controls the switch. And you want to entrust your entire wealth, your hard-earned savings, your retirement, to something that is controlled by what we know is a movement forward to global socialism? Do you really want to do that? Because what you have to understand is Bitcoin, although it was created with the software over in Asia, 90% of Bitcoin has been mined in China. That's interesting, isn't it? But we're going to get into deeper versions of what it means to be in the Chinese financial world, because it's not just about the Chinese mining most of the Bitcoin or in control of it. Think about their motive. No good communist or socialist has a motive that's in your best interest. It's just not. They may make you think they're going to feed you and give you a housing, but watch what they tell you you have to do to get it, right? And in the communists, they'll just kill you. They'll just kidnap you and kill you and throw you in prison for 30 years. Just look at what's happening in Venezuela and Argentina. So the point is, the world is moving this way. And in the digital cryptocurrency world, like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all this exciting stuff, is there money to be made? Folks, yes. Of course there is. No different than like throwing it up on the wall to a stock or a bond. I'm here in the wealth transfer concept to help you understand that if you want to play a little bit for some profit, I understand that, but it's about protecting and preserving your assets for your future retirement, your quality of life, your standard of living, the inheritance to your children and your children's children. Now, since 2008, the world has added 150 trillion, right? I still, when I say that, I can't believe it. 150 trillion in new debt, 15 trillion in new currency printing. That's the only reason why, by the way, that we've seen any recovery whatsoever since 2008. It's fake. They're printing money out of thin air to then invest it into things that aren't real. Like even in China, for instance, they're building cities that nobody lives in, bridges and roads that go to nowhere. If China did not receive a bulk of that investment capital since 2008, you would not see the global economy that you do today. Folks, since 2008, employment in the United States, 90% of all new jobs were part-time. I don't call that a booming economy. The numbers you're being shown to your mainstream finance on unemployment, on job growth, all false. They just are. They're just smoke and mirrors trying to make you feel good so you go spend your money. And it's working with some people because I see the activity. And yes, thank God we actually have a president that is bringing manufacturing back to the United States, that is standing up for the American people. See, we have a difference in opinion in politics, that's for sure. I personally don't like any of them, but we do have a difference in politics. One side is about we, the people, for the most part. The other side is a globalist order. Open borders, bring them all in. Folks, we got 7 billion people in the world. You can't help the poor. You can't. You can try a little bit here and there, but I mean, you can never do it because 16 trillion has been spent on the war on poverty in the United States, and yet we're still more poor now than we ever were. It's about the value of a dollar, about the buying power of a dollar. So keep that in mind when you realize that these cryptocurrencies are exciting, but the reason I had to do this is we find a lot of people are experimenting towards cryptocurrencies for the protection of their IRAs and 401ks versus real, hard, tangible asset wealth. Silver, gold, land, houses. Now, the only thing about land and houses is they're not as liquid. Good investments from time to time, but not as liquid. Silver can be sold instantly into the marketplace. And I know the price hasn't moved much. I know the frustration. But folks, we are not in the retirement world for a quarterly ROI, return on investment. If you're sitting there paying attention, which some people do, they pay attention to their silver accounts on a daily basis. I'm like, what are you doing? When's your retirement date? Then don't even worry about it. The statistics on the physical asset of silver, which is our constitutional money and our biblical money, no doubt will be the savior of we the people in the end. You will see a reckoning in the price of silver and gold. It's just a matter of time. As far as I'm concerned, get it while it's cheap, and not just in price, but in premium. Because when you buy physical silver, there's a premium attached, meaning the price over and above what you see in the spot world because of minting and fabricating and mining and other costs that go into it. So just understand, I know directly from the refinery, they have said what's coming because of the lack of supply in silver. The premiums will absolutely skyrocket. And so even if the price of silver is $30 an ounce, which is almost 100% from here today, you're going to pay premiums in a staggering number. So I just encourage you to think through, pray through, and make sure you're properly diversified and protected. So what I want to do real quick here before I get deeper into this, I want you to understand what protection means, and I do have a lot of faith and confidence in the high purity quality that Cornerstone produces. So I'm going to take a quick break. Be right back.
Terrorism, a volatile stock market, rising food costs, natural disasters. Every day our economy is at risk, but your assets should not be. Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked so hard to gain. Whether you have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, our accredited asset management specialists are here to support you. Call now and we'll send you urgent information regarding changes to the dollar and challenges to our economy that you need to be prepared for. Learn how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA. We can even arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or send it directly to your home. Do not delay. Call 888-747-3309 or register online at cornerstoneassetmetals.com today. Invest in precious metals and create security in your future today. Call now.
Welcome back. Now, you hear a lot about debts. You hear a lot about deficits. And it always seems to be okay for we the people. I mean, in the end, do we really notice? Now, you may notice if you're in Chicago or other cities like Detroit, or if you're a retirement pension system like in California. I had a story the other day of a lady from CalPERS out in California. Her pension was cut staggering, like 60%. And in Chicago, they're in so much debt with all of the socialist or government, let's just say, I couldn't call Chicago, well, they might be, what they promise. And they promise things that they just can't keep. And Chicago is well over 150 billion plus. They do funny numbers, but listen, they're deep in debt. So what did they do? They raised the taxes on the people, even more than they already had. In the end, folks, they can never keep up with the promises that they've given you. And I have a tremendous concern in the kingdom because a lot of us are going to rely or want to rely on the pensions that we were promised. Pensions are failing all over the country. And can you imagine if you had, or you think you have, a $3,000 to $4,000 a month pension and it's cut down to $1,500? What are you going to do, right? This is where physical silver comes in with the extra money that's not part of the retirement system. Because as silver has its reckoning, because it will, when the dollar loses its buying power in the future, which it will, the silver will help compensate for some of those losses. So just keep that in mind. But I want to get into just kind of some fun imagery here. I know, for instance, this one. Now, we're talking about the debt ceiling, and we're going to be passing it clean, and it's not going to be an issue, right? But I love this cartoon because as you see the Capitol building there blowing off its top, gushing in red, which kind of signifies debt, but it also, to me, signifies blood, because that's what they're taking from us and our children's future. They're literally destroying our ability to have freedom. Now, I'm not unrealistic. As you may hear from certain people in politics, oh, we need to balance the budget, we need to have proper deficits. Folks, that's ridiculous. All it means, let's take money from one place and move it to another. It's all about allocation. We can never really lower the deficits or the budget. It's just going to be impossible. So regardless how they try to play the funny math and tell you, this picture pretty much says it, they're just going to raise the ceiling. Now it's 20 trillion, then it'll be 24 trillion, then 30 trillion. People are like, well, so what? What does it matter to me? Well, it matters when it's buying power. And here's where it actually matters. Because in the debt world, you have to pay interest on the debt. Now, that's the actual trick of all this, by the way. When the Keynesian socialists established the model of economics that we have today, it was all designed so let's just put it this way. The Federal Reserve Bank isn't federal and they have no reserves, okay? The Federal Reserve Bank, if you can go look it up yourself, their corporate charter tells you that it's made up of a group of bankers. And in that group, they're guaranteed a percentage of interest on the money. If you look at the top 50 corporations that make up this world, majority of them are financial. So that tells you who's running the world. So do keep in mind that the idea, especially for us in the kingdom, is to go to a global socialist government, let alone a global one world currency. And they can't really do that if you have freedom or flexibility. But keep this in mind. As the Bible says, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. Proverbs 11:1. The reason I like that is because the currency systems today, the fiat currency systems, the money in your wallet, I shouldn't even call it money, so just back myself, the dollar bill in your wallet is a currency note. It's a dishonest weight and measure. It's being rigged by the system. By the way, same with BitCoin. Who's setting the price? Who's to say Bitcoin can't get hacked? Already did one time, didn't it? Who's to say they can't flip the switch or rearrange the blockchain? Now, I know what the intelligent people are saying, and I know the arguments. I know the sound argument of, well, blockchain is going to be empirically sound, and I hear the arguments all the time. You're going to be wrong. In the end, it's designed to enslave we the people, because once they have a cashless society, they will force you to save or to spend. Oh, by the way, they know everything you do, and many people say, well, so what? I don't have anything to hide. Not the point. Today, you don't think so. Yesterday, maybe it was okay, but tomorrow it might not. Maybe it's hip to be fat today. Maybe tomorrow it's not. You see, it's a moral compass issue. We, the people, were designed to be free. Sovereign, meaning we can travel from point A to B without anybody stopping us. And yet now we have outrageous laws and policies similar to civil asset forfeiture, where a police officer can pull you over and steal your money because they think maybe it's related to some crime without any due process or any criminal activity. And believe it or not, last year alone in civil asset forfeitures in our country, policemen have confiscated more money and assets from people than burglaries were reported. Now, I love our men and women in blue. I'm an ex-military veteran myself. I support it, considering with all the gang thuggery mindsets we have, criminal mindsets we have in this country, we have to have law enforcement. But God, are you kidding me? They're going around stealing money from innocent people constantly through civil asset forfeiture. Now, that's just the beginning. And you think that's not happening, you should do your research, because it's happening all the time to innocent people. Wait until they go into the crypto cashless society. And you think it's okay. Wait until your morals don't line up with theirs. Wait until you happen to be conservative and a communist is in office, or vice versa. You don't know. Politics changes the moral compass, and the moral compass makes one thing legal or not legal. So this is a big deal. And we, the people, need to protect ourselves properly. It is vital that our IRAs, our 401ks, our cash positions in the bank are protected. And we're not doing that. Most don't even know that in a bank, the money is not yours. Once you give the money to the bank, you've given them a loan. That's why they pay you a paltry interest. They own your money. Go to the bank right now and try to pull $20,000 out, that, by the way, is yours, and see what they do. Yeah, they'll report you like you're some kind of criminal. Thomas Jefferson said it right, that the Constitution or the government and a criminal is one and the same. May the Constitution be the change that binds the latter before it becomes the former. Basically saying, if we don't stick to the rule of law as a republic, as a nation that we are, we, the government, the government, will be as criminal as the criminal himself, which I think they're already kind of doing that. But listen, we can't stop it, folks. And I'm not advocating to even try. Now, go vote, but we're in trouble. Our finances are deep, and they're not stopping it. So we have to take the reins in the kingdom so we can be here for the fight. And we need to understand this information in order to do that. So I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll get right back into it.
Terrorism, a volatile stock market, rising food costs, natural disasters. Every day our economy is at risk, but your assets should not be. Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked so hard to gain. Whether you have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, our accredited asset management specialists are here to support you. Call now and we'll send you urgent information regarding changes to the dollar and challenges to our economy that you need to be prepared for. Learn how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA. We can even arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or send it directly to your home. Do not delay. Call 888-747-3309 or register online at cornerstoneassetmetals.com today. Invest in precious metals and create security in your future today. Call now.
Welcome back. So just understand, in the whole digital currency world, it is not to be trusted. At any given moment, the switch is turned off. For instance, look at the computer systems that run it. How many computers have been hacked recently? What if the power outage goes down? Who in government controls it? What do they do? I mean, look at some of these governments around the world, how they're stealing from their people. Folks, play, but stay away. And put your retirement and what matters to you most in tangible assets. And that doesn't include currency. Currency is fake. That's what the word fiat stands for. Now, how many cryptocurrencies are there? Really? A lot. This is just an example of how many are out there. But there is a lot more than you think. And so Bitcoin just happens to be the most popular. But there's crypto this, Ethereum that, it's just Bitcoin this. Folks, it's fun. But it's almost like going to Vegas and doing a little rock, paper, scissors. I know it seems legitimate. Be very cautious, that's all I'm saying. Because who controls the switch? And I just want us to make sure we understand that. Because you see, we are moving towards a global new currency, reserve currency. And it's something way beyond what people are ready or expecting. For instance, this magazine ad here called The Economist, which, by the way, The Economist is controlled by the Rothschilds, which I'm not a major conspiracy guy, really. I'm pretty much a data-driven individual, but it's convenient. The Rothschilds pretty much control the banking system, and they're kind of behind the socialist order. They're downright Luciferians, but, you know, it is what it is. Remember, we're in the world, but we're not of the world as the kingdom-minded. I don't believe we're stopping this, folks. I just don't. We can't. So what do we have to do is get on the right side of the fence in protecting what God has given us in wealth, in savings. He has given you to be a good steward and manager. Now, I know the price of silver and gold hasn't moved a whole lot. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. Unless you're retiring tomorrow, it doesn't matter. Buy it, store it away. The best thing you can give to your family, to your children, is silver, because it's real money, it's our constitutional money, and when the reckoning comes to the currency system in our dollar, you're going to find the reckoning to the silver price. And only those who are holding on to it physically, either at your home or in a vault like in your IRA, will have that opportunity. Anything on paper in the end has no title and no real value when it hits the fan. Many people don't believe it's going to hit the fan. Wait until you see what's coming over the next few weeks when I show you what really is happening in the Middle East. What really is happening with Syria, Ukraine, China, Russia. Wait until you see the details, the charts, and the graphs. Oh, The Economist. That's it right there. That was a 1988 article, which that bird, by the way, folks, is not just a bird. That is a phoenix. And Phoenix, of course, is a cultic Luciferian, and it's a rebirthing of something that has died, almost like a reincarnation. And if you notice, the Phoenix is standing on world global currencies, and they're burning. Do you know that was in 1988? And around its neck is a chain, a new currency unit, gold currency unit, which it won't be gold, but make it look like that because they're trying to fool you for value. But notice the year. 2018. Isn't that interesting? Not that I'm conspiracy and it's actually going to happen by then, because the elites can be off, here a few years here and there. I think President Trump has thrown a massive wrench in the elite globalist plan because he's not part of their secret societies, if you know what I mean, and they need to stop him. So I do know that they're going to try everything they can to make him seem unstable, but put it this way, anyone who says he's that unstable, are they themselves probably the ones who are unstable? Is he a little mouthy and a little sideways? Yeah, thank God. But he definitely understands what's coming our way, and he's trying to help us. But that Economist is a big deal because they knew this currency system that we're working with, this fiat experiment that happened starting in 1971. Now, it's been around for a while, but 1971 was when it changed. It's when we came off our gold standard and we went on to this new dollar standard that you see today. And it's also the time when we got into things in the Middle East, and I'm going to outline that for you. Be quite surprised how the petrodollar, the new dollar standard of 1971, this magazine all have something in common. They knew because every single fiat currency in the world has gone to zero. Zero. Every one of them. Are we going to defy gravity and be the only ones that never go to zero? And mind you, the US dollar has gone through 4 currency changes already in its history. You just don't know that. We've had multiple currencies, folks. 1971 was the last one, and most of us, only knew this standard. So we don't realize there's a reckoning coming. The US dollar reserve status is already compromised. It's already starting to fall apart, and wait until you see the details we show you on that in the next coming weeks. But the challenge to the dollar's reserve system is why you're seeing all these other things: war, Middle East, Russia, China, and the cryptocurrency introduction. Remember what I said, most of it is done through China, and they're communists. That ought to tell you something. Most of the banking systems and governments are looking into blockchain. They want to go cashless. We're going to get into that too. If they go cashless, we are slaves. We're going back to Egypt. Just keep that in mind. Because what is this really going to produce? What are they really after? They knew in 1971 that they would burn out this fiat system, that they would print into Bolivian the currencies to the point of worthlessness. And irony is, when the dollar was created, starting back to 1913 in this whole new experiment, it has lost 96.7% of its buying power. Think about that. And I know people say, oh, but we make more money. We're wealthier today. Okay, I can show a million examples of where the dollar doesn't even remotely buy you what it used to. College education, books, food. You used to be able to do all of that on a one-parent income. Now you can't. Now we can't even survive on two incomes because the dollar's not worth anything. It's losing its buying power. And because of the petrodollar deal being compromised in the Middle East, especially over the last 8 years and all the failures that we did by not stopping it, wait until you see how this compromises and turns into a currency reset globally, which I think is taking us to another level of control. I think the next level is going into a global currency unit. Now, this is purely my opinion, but I do believe we're going to have a new global reserve currency unit after the next major collapse. Now, we'll have countries will have individual currencies, but the unit itself will be a, let's just say, global unit. Now, why or what is coming off of that? This, the global war on cash and currency itself, the paper dollars, the privacy, the notes that we can go and give to poor people, that we can use to buy and sell with one another without having a bureaucrat looking over our shoulder, judging our moral compass. You got to keep that in mind, folks, because I just want you to understand it really is about protecting our assets. It's about we, the people, having the ability to not only protect but preserve what God has given us to be good stewards and managers over. And it's not a perfect world. I understand the stocks and bonds. I understand dabbling in some things for fun, but make it a ratio. Make hard, tangible assets like silver part of your stable retirement base for the future. That's something that's always yours, and especially with the war on cash, it's the only thing that'll keep you outside the system. So until next time, I just want each and every one of you to understand, God bless you with the wisdom to see and hear the truth. We'll catch you next time.